Hi, how are you guys doing? So it's kind of funny for as many lives as I've done, videoing always feels like whoa, and I think partly because I try and do it in like 4.5 seconds. Um, I'm looking at I'm looking at the big mess I have down below here. So the idea of the video is to show you how I'm planning to decorate the first time, anyways, my board. Uh, the the board is good. I want it to be our command center kind of thing. And it does come with a 12 by 12 pieces of paper that is intended to be put with inside the frame and to cover it up to make it prettier. If you have an alternative, as I'm using here with the, I think it's Hues of Happiness paper, you can totally put something different in if you choose. And so I have chosen to go a little bit brighter and in my mind summarier. You see these little tiny guys. If you take some sort of a little knife or in this case my tweezers, I'm going to pop out these guys and pull them all up. So not pulling them out, but just pushing them all up. And that will pop out this little cardboardy thing, and you'll lay your piece of paper in there. One idea that I had is if you have these little guys, I thought this would be really fun. The little vellum would be kind of neat underneath there. But you'll just slide it in underneath the little pieces, and then you'll slide them. Oh, yeah, the magnetic piece back in. So when you are putting it in, slide it back in underneath these little tabs. They will want to stick on the side. I found that if I did this sort of a thing, pull the frame, you get that little tiny bit of a gap right there. Do pay attention to where the hanger is. I actually put my paper in sideways first, and I needed to come back to do it. But if you pull this in, you might need somebody to kind of give you half a hand, but you'll be able to, it'll pop down. So you'll have it slid in one side, and it's just that you need to get it past a couple of these on the other edges. And so by pulling it, it will just pop in there and away you go. Then once it's in there, make sure that you press it down firm, and then press these guys back down. Do be a little bit careful. They're sharp, so you don't want to hurt yourself, but do push them down and firm. I pushed mine down, and then as I got them all down, I was able to go back and firm it up a little tiny bit. That'll give you a nice smooth finish on this side. If you wanted to, you would be done. Ta-da! And I'm half teasing because I'm going to go ahead and decorate just a little tiny bit more. Inside of your kit, you also got these kimono looking things. I went ahead and chose a piece of paper from the same set and traced along it and then cut it out. This has a fancy edge, of course, so if you wanted to, you could also do a little fancy edge on here. And then I laid this guy in here like so, and I took my ruler and I took my little stylus, and on a foam, I did it on a mouse pad actually, but on a foam, I lined this up, and I just folded this top one because it already was folded. I folded them over so that I knew I was right. And then I took it and I stylused, and then I turned it to the side, and I found the next guy and I stylused, and so forth. So then I now have my little piece, and that's very faint here, so I could go over it again, or I'm going to try my best and see if it works here. I'm going to fold this way and back in at it. And I'm hoping that I have similar folds to the other side. It doesn't need to be perfect because that's my world. Perfect's not my goal ever, but we'll see. Where's that other guy? Hold on a second. Okay. And I'm definitely not perfect. Totally turning this on. The edge there. And I know this was part of my cutting job. So I'll just trim this up. All right, so then I'm going to put some glue on here, and I will have my little guy. Oh, and a little half circle. I actually, honestly, I just literally cut. That's why it's the way it is. But if you wanted to, you could bring in a circle there and cut. Okay, and so then this goes on, and you have a little clip. So you have 6 of these clips. So you have room. This is more cardboardy, just FYI. This is more papery. So I think that'll work out okay regardless. Sorry. And then these guys are going to clip onto here. So I'm going to have, I am going to utilize the cards that come in this kit. I am going to work with them throughout the time, through the couple months, and I'm going to make little notes on them and whatnot. So I think I'm just going to put them all in, and they're just going to sit in my little command station idea. I did find this cute little one amongst them, and I am encouraging you to possibly start a habit trackers, and for each day that you do it, you could stamp something fun in there. If you chose, oh geez, I wish I would have pulled this out, but probably from one of these sets, you'd have some little smaller version. Something from, and of course, do I have anything? No, I'm looking at this cute little guy and there's nothing small on there. But, you know, a lot of stamp sets would probably have a smallish version of something, and you could stamp each day that you went along, or you can just write 1, 2, 3. You might want to be doing water. You might want to try and do 1 push-up each day, whatever you like. And so that can also sit there. If you have, well, we'll come up with some ideas of what you might habit track. Also, as you're reading my prompts, you might be like, hey, you know what? I want to do that prompt. I absolutely cannot do it today. I love the idea. And so you could have a little version of this going on and have that. I am going to show an idea that I did see somebody do, covering this with actually a little piece of plastic, and that way you could dry erase it. I will show a little clip on that later. So whether those guys were stacked or not, I'm wanting to leave the bottom part open here, because what I want to do is bring in yet another piece of paper that coordinates with the set, and I want to have it, and I've changed it. If you're watching this and you actually watched my thing, I had this 6 inches. I now would like it to be at 4.5 inches, and I'm scoring 1/2 inch along here. Oh no, this is, what is this? Good gracious. I cut it and I forget now. 5. I was thinking it was probably 5. So this is 5 by 11.5. And I scored it at 1/2 inch so that I'm going to glue that down along here. And you could tack and just glue along both of these sides as well, but then it'll be very tight in here. So I got these little pieces, and I'm going to work with them. And I believe they are 2.5 by, and now we need to make it by 4. And I don't have it at 4. And then I scored it every 1/2 inch, and I've done the same sort of thing as with my accordion here. And I am going to tuck this in here. There's tape inside of this box, and I put my tape on here, and I'm going to tuck this guy in here, fold this guy over, put my glue on here, my tape, and I have a second one somewhere. I'll put him on that side. And then when I bring this over, I will put tape on here as well. This will get trimmed. And then I will very carefully tape all this down, have this down, and that will not be there, but I will have this nice little space, and it'll accordion. It'll have actually quite a lot of space to be able to put stuff that I would like to in there. I'm going to give that a try for the first 3 weeks and see how I like the idea of the pocket, or if I would rather just have a huge magnet board. I can also, of course, move this out of the way if I decide to instead not to have it and just have little tacky up things. So there's all sorts of freedom of that. When I've got this little guy down, I have decided that I would like to add just a little tiny bit of decoration. So I went ahead and took the flowers that are from cut out. These are actually literally cut out from one of the pieces of the paper. And I just put that together into it, a little idea. And I'm just going to pop that on there. And I got another little idea here, and with the alphabet, I just put summer camp. And then that's all ready to hang up and ready to go. So it's basically that simple as far as decorating. I think it's kind of snazzy. The idea, like I said, is to have it to be your command center. So some of the pieces of paper that you might end up using, and some that I will end up popping after I've written them, I might write something on here because it's just going to be perfect, and I'm going to capture my memory, but I know that I really, really want to have a picture that I haven't gotten yet, and I'm not quite positive if it's going to be a horizontal or a vertical, and I'm not going to get really fussy, but I'm going to date this, and I might even put just a little date on the side or something, but I'm going to date it, and then I can just throw that back into here as well, and it'll stay in there until I'm ready to bring in my book and decide. So now the rules of the book is that you should not, as I wrote, be starting on your very first page. If you decide you want to, go for it. It's your book. You can go ahead and decorate the whole book and then fill in as you want. I'm not quite sure how that will work, but I'm holding on putting even this little guy in because I'm not sure if I want to put him on a front page, the back page, or use him somewhere through. At some point in the near future here, I'm going to show us how we're going to add a few pages into here, accordion them. Right off the bat, if you ever are doing, I'm thinking that I would like to, and I think I just lost my little, I had the little, what did I just do with him? Here he is, my little Canada camper. So I might start my very first day on July 1st, how I celebrated Canada Day, in the very middle, because this book really naturally opens to the middle. And so I'm thinking, well, it might not be bad. Then as I glance, I'll know this is my July book. Inside of here, if this is a card, boom, you already have room to put a little picture in here. You can write some of your details there. And you could even write more stuff down here, or this could be July 2nd, and you're like, yeah, and I went and had a popsicle today, or, I keep using a popsicle as an idea every day. We are going to, and I'll show you in here, some little highlights. You could choose to put pencil in, and this could be anywhere. This was a summer, and I popped it right in the very middle of the book, but I did do a calendar page. You've got some little washi tape so you can do little corners on the edges. And we are going to learn how to do a couple of flip flaps as well. And pull outs. So there's all sorts of little ideas to make a little bit more room. The one really fun thing that the girls thought were fun too, we'll teach you how to do a little rain fall card. And then you'll be able to have extra pictures in as well. I will recommend as you go along, and hopefully I remind you a few different times, put your year and a date possibly constantly. In this case, I know that I can kind of go back to my July page because I've got that I was in Salt Lake City, so I know when that it was actually July 17th to 20th, but in truth, all I have is 2013. The weird thing, I know I have 2014 things in here. Oh, no, you know what? It was from a different book. All right, so, and I have 2 of these. You may want to start another book. Pardon me, sorry, you guys. You know that, you don't know this. I do know this. I have 1,000 different notebooks, and I start them randomly, and I begin and I go and I have different stuff going on. I would love to have you take on a challenge of doing 30 days of gratitude journaling. I said to the girls earlier today that, say on this card, this one, it's perfect. You could have 3 little squares here and have your 3 little gratitudes on there of what you were grateful for. That one might actually be nice for years from now. I'm not positive that you want to have your 90 days, 90 different gratitudes in this book, for instance, for people to read 100 years from now. I feel like if you have an extra little book somewhere and you write them, sometimes they'll be special and you'll want to pull them into here, and other times it's just as good for you to capture for your own self, if that makes sense. And that will go along as you go along. If you happen to go to a musical like I did in this particular year, again, I even had a little arrow date, so then I threw that so that we knew where the date was constantly, and you will just use stuff. I know I'm going to Hamilton this summer, and initially what I said was I was going to probably keep my what is this called even? Good gracious. I'm totally blanking on what it is, but the playbook, and I was going to put that in the front thing, and it would be sticking out for a little while, and I would be able to look at it until I decide to just pull off the cover and go from there. Whether you have pictures or not, just lots of writing sometimes is nice. And then also sometimes it would be nice to do a 2-page spread. Most of yours, I don't know that you'll end up doing 2-page spreads, but there it is. All right, gals, so that is your little command station, your little tiny where's my little guys again? He popped away. Here, this little accordion. So you're going to have a little accordion that you will glue on the inside of this guy. This is scored at the 1/2 inch, and that way you have a little tiny pocket at the bottom if you choose. Down the road, you might be like, I just like to have everything straight out. What I liked about this was I was able to decorate a little tiny bit more on here, and it was never going to get covered up because it's a pocket, and yet I have the ability. And I could even have, if I prefer to have something right there, I know what it is, but I don't want the world to see it because maybe it's in a little bit of a public spot. Maybe I want to have them tucked into there, and I still have a whole bunch of stuff around. I could even throw that in and it would still be there. And when I pull this out, yeah, that's there, but gravity will keep it down. So, all right, I'm going to go. Thanks a lot. Talk to you guys later.